Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor, and I was out of sorts because I had to take my son to Atlanta for baseball yesterday, and it's just like driving there and back in a day. It's kind of like it just throws me off. So anyway, I've got so much stuff to show you, but we got 2 videos, so we'll get it done. Don't worry, we always get it done here. But let me tell you what, folks. We are watching, I believe, the beginnings of XRP doing what it was always going to do. Kick, as my 11-year-old would say, kicking a word and taking, kicking a word and taking names. So check this out. Over the last 7 days, XRP 68%, Bitcoin minus 2.71, XRP 65 30-day. 11.65 Bitcoin, XRP 71 in 1 quarter, Bitcoin 6.25, XRP 113% on the year, Bitcoin 25. I believe this is true, folks. I've been watching if you look around right now, first of all, you're seeing the bots that are programmed to show up at this moment. That's a sign in itself. I never did cover the bearable guy stuff much. I think that's where this gnashing of teeth phrase came from. I don't remember though. But if you've been here for a long time, you remember the gnashing of teeth. I always thought this is kind of how it would unfold. Is that the Bitcoin and Ethereum thing never made any sense. They tried everything that they could to make those things into something that they never were, which was actually work and actually be a rival to the technology that is XRP. Just wasn't going to happen because they weren't. XRP was designed to be a better Bitcoin. I believe we're watching the start of the gnashing of teeth and the rise of XRP, the one. This guy, we now have .eth people that are asking for XRP price predictions, and I told him, I said, I'll see your .eth and raise you a .xrp. I have put the .xrp in my name. It was never Bitcoin. It was never Ethereum. Hashtag XRP. Hashtag zero doubt. For those of you that were around in the Miguel Valles days, I've never had any doubt. I just didn't know how long it was going to take. My sponsor, Liquidity, they have redesigned their logo, redesigned the platform. That's exciting. And look, this is one of the only places you can get Ripple private equity, and I think they still have some up there. But I'm telling you, let me tell you how I think this is going to unfold. In fact, here's what we were on that Spaces with Joe and Doso the other day, and I am telling you the way I think this is going to unfold. I think that Ripple and the SEC are going to come to some agreement on a post-judgment settlement, and I think that is what's going to trigger all these NDAs and banks and all that have never been able to make an announcement of any sort. And I believe that it's a good chance that Bank of America will be the first one. And when that happens, good luck getting your private equity on Liquidity. The link's in the top of the description. Check it out. Retail is just the noise. That's what Dilip Rao said from Ripple back in the day. We were needed for the testing ground for the last 10 years. I've always kind of thought that, and that's okay. I'm glad to be a test as long as I get to keep my XRP. This girl right here said something. I woke last night. My 11-year-old had talked his way into sleeping in my bed. He woke up and his mom went and slept in his bed. He wakes up in the middle of the night because I think he was feeling guilty and decides he'll go sleep in the bed with her. Okay? Long story. So he wakes me up in the middle of the night. I roll over, and of course, I look on Twitter if I wake up in the middle of the night, and I saw this. So let's go over it. This is interesting. This seemed like a smart lady. Let's talk XRP. A few of you have asked about price prediction, time frames. While no one can predict price, I will say, and I think we will know this, the price of XRP cannot be cheap. What's more, retail will be priced out of XRP at some point. I see a lot of nonsense online regarding the price is going to jump and then crash because everyone's going to sell. While that may be your theory, here's mine. Retail only makes up about 1% of XRP space. By the time the Fed, banks, businesses start putting their money into it, that 1% of retail is going to look like a minnow in an ocean. Boy, I like what she's saying, and I agree. That 1% will not fluctuate the price at all. A large quantity of XRP facilitates large quantity of banks, whilst high prices allows for higher transaction with less XRP. There's only so much XRP, that is my opinion. Time frames, again, something that cannot be predicted. However, with the Fed now going live, and we're not saying on this channel that Fed now uses XRP, don't start, crypto police. It goes live on July 20th. I would assume that they cannot be the only one going live. Whatever the Fed does, banks must follow, because that is how they communicate back and forth. Whatever banks choose to do, their business customers must follow, because that is how they communicate with banks. That is what I deal with in treasury management, money movement, the connections to that money movement. Allow me to explain further on that. I previously worked for Wachovia in the cash vault. If you're really behind the times, Wachovia was bought by Wells Fargo in 2009. In cash vault, they use a system called Glory, XRP Glory. I eventually left several years later and then worked at Loomis as the balance and auditor in cash operations. They also use Glory. Fast forward 15 years, I went back to the initial cash vault to find that they are still using the same old Glory system. The system was also how Fed shipments of currency could be placed. What I'm getting at is I would be surprised if the Federal Reserve were the only ones going live this Thursday. Throughout my banking career, I've noticed whatever the Fed does, the banks will follow. That's basically the reason why banks close on holidays, because the Fed is closed. Banks are for profit. Why would any company stop operations because of a holiday if they are for profit? Think about it. Now, could I be totally wrong on this? Possibly. That's going to suck. However, I've seen a lot through my 15-year career. Banking, we're finally entering a new era. All right. And then she replied on this. This is Chad Steingraber, who's been talking about Fed now a lot. This is the Global Liquidity Management Bank of America commercial that they had put out not too long ago. I'm not going to play it because I don't know if there's copyright issues. He says liquidity hubs will automatically balance themselves. And remember, this is what Joe Indoso, the COO of Link2, said the other day, is that these banks will use Liquidity Hub to source their XRP liquidity. Okay. Then she replies to this and says, Brad Garlinghouse already stated that they only need one bank to announce using XRP and the rest will follow suit. Bank of America has always been the first to make moves. I worked for their competitor and watched the financial industry overall. This is going to be insane. I won't say the name of who, but if you remember, supposedly Brad Garlinghouse told someone at Swell that Bank of America was sitting on the sidelines like chomping at the bit to start using ODL, which uses XRP. Now, there is a gnashing of teeth going on. Let's start to look at it. First of all, you've got these guys. And by the way, don't be surprised if you don't see, because this is how these people operate, don't be surprised if you don't see CNBC and all these people who have been carrying this Bitcoin Ethereum narrative. Don't be surprised if you don't see a shift of some sort as they realize they're on the wrong side. But now they're putting on the anti-crypto guy. This is Ben McKenzie, the actor, who is obviously being put up to doing all this by someone
earlier this
in our government.
Great, smart guy, stock analyst, thinks Bitcoin's going to 200,000. So we have, Kathy Wood, BlackRock wants to have an ETF, Fidelity, Charles Schwab, Paul Tudor Jones is long, Stan Druckenmiller.
Sure.
And just across the board, it didn't take me long to understand how the unbanked could benefit from this. And I also understand the distributed ledgers, and I understand it was only, I mean, I didn't, you say you did a deep dive. It only took me about 20 pages of the Bitcoin Standard to understand that this was probably something that, do you think all these firms are going to have egg on their face?
So it's a democratized, decentralized future of money is brought to you by BlackRock?
I don't know. Maybe. They may, I mean, if they think it.
This whole decentralized thing, the thing about Bitcoin being decentralized and all that guy just made a killer point. It's all a bunch of BS.
Gold, if they think it's, you know,
none of this would be happening if they didn't control it.
Yeah.
Digital gold.
Right, exactly. And that's why I was explaining the difference between
I heard that, but
and scarcity.
A lot of smart people are fooled by it. You think it's going to zero eventually?
No, that's like I mean, look,
where do you think it's going?
Story. I can't predict the future any more than anyone else, but I would say this.
You think it's going lower?
Yes.
Okay. Do you think eventually there will not be something called Bitcoin?
It's a story. It'll last as long as people believe in it.
It's a lie. Let me correct that. It's a lie that they don't know who Satoshi is, and it'll last as long as people believe the lie. That's the truth. Speaking of lies, look at this. U.S. Secret Service officials seize funds from crypto-friendly Bahamian bank Deltec Bank's U.S. accounts in an investigation into money laundering and fraud. Deltec Bank is directly linked to you-know-who, which has never made any sense. Then Kathy Wood's on making a $1.5 million Bitcoin prediction. She's got a lot tied up in this. You better be right.
We went to a bear, base, and bull case. So our bull case is, I think it's 1.5 million. The base case is 625,000, something like that. Now, one reason we've actually internally, our confidence has increased towards the bull case is because of what happened during the regional bank crisis in March. What happened? Bitcoin, so as regional banks are going bankrupt and the stocks are imploding across the board for the KRE, Bitcoin rallied from 19,000 to 30,000. Why did that happen? That was a flight to safety. That is the insurance policy that we are talking about, that we believe everyone will want at the end of the day. Insurance policy against two things: confiscation of wealth, either directly or by inflation, or in the deflation world, what is it a hedge against? Right. It's a hedge against counterparty risk. We won't have an 0809 with Bitcoin. Everything is decentralized and transparent. No obfuscation.
There's only one digital asset that's completely transparent, i.e. you don't know who the identity of Satoshi is. That's XRP. Completely transparent and always has been. Now, Max Kaiser, this is an old tweet, and Bill Morgan makes a great point. This hasn't aged well over the last 5 weeks. Not only is XRP not a dead coin walking, but a judge found that XRP token itself is not a security. Bitcoin no longer has a monopoly on clarity. And then there's this, folks. You can just hear the gnashing of teeth. Just in, XRP has surpassed Bitcoin, accounting for 21% of total crypto trading volume after a win against the SEC. Trading volume hit nearly 25 billion in 4 days and recorded its largest volume in the past 1.5 years. Now, folks, here's the other thing going on. Remember the Ripple case? There's legal pundits everywhere. They're coming out of the woodwork, but they just didn't count on these social media guys like myself that were not bought and paid for, like a lot of them were. They never saw us coming. They never realized that there would be social media outlets that would rise even bigger than they are, because they told the truth and were not guided by narrative. And so now all of the legal pundits, they're coming out to say, oh, this split decision. The SEC could appeal. They could appeal. You know what none of the legal pundits are weighing in on? Not one. I haven't seen one yet. None of them. Well, except for Jimmy Valley, that is. I'll show you him in a minute and in the next video. None of them are weighing in. Remember the institutional sales part of the Ripple decision? None of them are weighing in on how that affects Ethereum. Remember, the Bill Hinman speech carries no legal weight. This decision does. So now, how many institutional sales were made by the Ethereum Foundation to VCs and all these other companies? These guys are just trying to stay focused just on the Ripple case because they have to. They're all up to their eyeballs in Bitcoin and Ethereum.
What we need to focus on is what is the impact of this decision now and for the foreseeable future? And the impact is exactly what Kayvon said. The court soundly rejected the SEC's theory that digital assets embody investment contracts. It said the tokens themselves are not securities. It said we have to focus on transactions, not tokens. And that clearly rebuts, as Kayvon said, the SEC's view that Chair Gensler frequently espouses, that the law is clear and the crypto industry is just obviously non-compliant, so there's no need for new legislation because the SEC has this under control. That's just not true, and that's what we learned from this opinion.
There we go. And then there's this, folks. This is one of the quote legal analysts. Now, it's not hard. If you want to go find out what these legal analysts' background is, all you have to do is type their name and type in LinkedIn in Google, and it will show you their background. And dimes to donuts, 99% of them have direct ties to Ethereum and Web3 and all that same old stuff. So they come on and they try to throw shade on the Ripple outcome. But here's what they don't do. They don't talk about how it affects Ethereum. In this clip, we've got this lady, I'm drawing a blank on her name. She has ties, okay? You know how it works. But she makes a comment about how the SEC, they're not trying to destroy anything. And then she says, well, here's what they don't want to do. And then I show you the clip of Bill Hinman where they do exactly what she said they don't want to do.
And that's why this has been not actually the SEC trying to crush an industry. This is really trying to shut down unregistered securities. And then the concept has been if we let unregistered securities continue throughout our system, the problem will be that most people will just go ahead and offer unregistered securities, and there will be nothing to stop people from continuing to offer them, just saying later on, well, we did that, but now we're operational, so let it just slide.
Moreover, putting aside the fundraising that accompanied the creation of Ether, based on my understanding of the present state of Ether, the Ethereum network, its decentralized structure, we believe current offers and sales of Ether are not securities transactions. As with Bitcoin, applying a disclosure regime, the disclosure regime of the federal securities laws, to current transactions in Ether would seem to add little value.
Now, let me make something clear. I don't want anybody to go after Ethereum, Bitcoin, or anything else. That's not my point in saying this. But as long as these people who I know have been involved in a concerted effort to throw shade on Ripple and XRP from the beginning, as long as that continues to go on, I'll continue to point directly at the truth of what they won't and cannot talk about, because it jeopardizes everything that they've all been involved in. I will continue to do it until I see them, the sun come out, and all of them all of a sudden want to tell the 100% truth and not the half truth. So here's what I said, calling on all crypto legal analysts who are giddy about weighing in on the Ripple ruling. I'm looking for anyone who can address how the ruling applies to Ethereum. Since we all know the Hinman speech was just a speech and carries no legal weight, specifically the potentially thousands of institutional sales to VCs, hedge funds, and other institutions. Anyone? I haven't heard one single legal analyst address this. Up stands Jimmy Valley. I'll take the challenge. Infographic coming this week. Now, Jimmy's got all sorts of great tweets I'm going to show you in the next video. I've run out of time here. I am the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor, not an attorney, not all kinds of stuff. But I'm a YouTuber, social media, whatever you want to call it. Like to tell you what I think. Please hit the like button, subscribe. I've lost my train of thought. I'm just kind of flying blind here now. But thanks for watching.